Okay, well, we're back again, and it is number 4. Okay, series 4 or section 4 or whatever 4 it is, but we're here. And in this particular part, I want you to always go back for each thing I've told you, watch it a few times, make notes, okay? Because now we're into a little bit more, and it's not technical, but it's more guidance. Remember, this is a kind of a beginner's guide to songwriting. And I want to talk about lyrics and how you write lyrics. No wrong or right way, but think, you're trying to tell a story. You're trying to say lines to me that strike me and stay with me. And those lines that should strike and stay with me, we've got that top line, that piece of music, and that obviously punctuates and adds to the weight of those, strength of those lines. Now, finding those sentences, think about your favourite songs. Think about your favourite songs. What are the sentences and bits that stick out? And I think that's in every single song. There's a line that just goes, oh. Or there's a line where you go, oh God, that makes me feel happy or uplifted. And that's really what good lyrics are. Now, they don't have to be complicated. They don't have to be over personal. They can be whatever you want them to be, but they are a communication tool that reaches out to me, your listener, and they should touch me. They should touch me in a happy way, a sad way, a contemplative way, a thoughtful way. And that to me is where I need you to do a little bit of study. Now, you may have brilliant ideas already and you don't need to, but reading novels, reading poetry books. Now people say, I don't want to read poetry. Read modern poetry. You'll find the beauty in the way that people play with words. There are great writers. There's the old Wordsworths people. There's Maya Angelou. There's Zephaniah. There are great poets, same as Heaney, Auden. That's the guy that did that wonderful poem that was in the Four Weddings movie all those years ago. Inside poetry, there are such powerful lines that can become a song. You haven't got to steal their line. That line will actually make something blossom in you like a flower. And that's how I need you to start looking at, where am I going to begin to create my lyric? And when I say where, how am I going to begin? And what is the story I'm going to tell? Go back to what I said about the movie. What lines are you going to put into the mouths of the characters in the film that you're directing? Okay. Now, again, there's a writer I mentioned earlier, Gretchen Peters, and she has a line. I'm not going to play the entire song, which is a bit disappointing because it's a fantastic song. But she's got this song, and it's called 5 Minutes, and it's really the story of a guy, and it's a girl. I've turned it into a guy, obviously, because I'm a man. I tend to sort of sing it into the male version. But it's about a cook. He works in a kind of diner, and he's just looking at his life. And he's singing you the song in his 5-minute cigarette break. And he tells you that. I've got 5 minutes to smoke this cigarette, 5 minutes to myself. Out behind the screen door of Mandy's luncheonette, and I ain't got time for nothing else. So he's just a guy on a break, and he tells you his life story, and it's beautiful. But there's one line, and when I actually perform it, I have to really focus, because it sometimes makes me choke up. It makes me very emotional. And the line is, and I shouldn't really do this because it seems a bit, it's not fair to Gretchen for a wonderful writing, but it says, I've got 5 minutes. Oh dear me, let's tune this guitar. It sounds dreadful. And while I'm just tuning the guitar, I've no idea why that guitar did that. That was a bit weird. So it says, I've got 5 minutes to smoke a cigarette, 5 minutes to myself. So the theme of the song is 5 minutes. And I want you to think about that. So the lyric keeps referring to this 5 minutes. And it is actually setting us up. And that's what I wanted to get to. It's setting us up for use of that line that's like a knockout blow. Certainly to me and certainly to audiences. I've actually watched them react when you sing that line. You can literally see audiences sort of go as that line hits them. So I'm desperately trying to remember how to do it without playing you the entire song. So it says, last weekend he ran out to see some girl beside the sea. That's it. So it's about his son, who's basically him, who's a wild boy chasing girls and being crazy. And he's finding it very difficult to discipline him because his son turns around and said, "You did all this. How can you, hypocrite, tell me?" And so the guy says, "No, he's right. There's not a lot I can say." So he says, "Last weekend he ran off to see some girl beside the sea. Just like I used to run to you." And this is a typical dad line. "I gave him hell when he came home this afternoon. Lipstick on his face. Seems like history repeats itself, and it ain't up to you. 'Cause in 5 minutes, your whole life can change." And it always gets me, even now, just singing a little bit of it, because what he's saying in that lyric, or what she's saying, but her character is saying, is that all the planning and all the stuff of my life changed in 5 minutes because I met that woman and just changed my life, and it just took 5 minutes. So lyrically, she's taken a beautiful and simple idea, and weirdly, I don't know why I've quoted her in this series. There's a good reason, she's a genius. But and the other song where she's writing, you know, a song about love is like a cup of tea, which sounds really naff until you realise what a powerful thing to say. And so I want you to think about the highs and the lows, the destruction of the planet, war, children going hungry. Yeah, you can write love songs, and we can all write pop songs, and I love you, I don't like you, broken my heart, and all that. But you can go deeper. And that's entirely up to you. Remember, I keep saying, there's nothing right and there's nothing wrong. So when we actually talk about lyrics, and I keep saying this, they have to have some kind of meaning. But when you think about it, sometimes that meaning can be just fun. It can be just, I want to dance. You know, I want to dance, I want to go out tonight, I want to have a party. That has a great meaning to people who want to go out and dance and have a party. They listen to that track and say, we're in a party mood. So just remember, what you write is that story, and it's another word that I love to use, is narrative. It's that narrative of life. And the narrative of life is what a songwriter is. You are a narrator of life. You're narrating your life and mine. You're saying stuff to me and I go, oh, yeah, she's right. That guy that wrote that song, that girl that wrote that song, that's perfect. That's exactly how I feel. That's why you like the artists you like, because they speak to you. And they speak to you often, not just with their top line and their music and their structure. They speak to you through the lyric, through the words they put inside your head. So I put down here, let's look at some example of lyrics. Okay. And again, I'm just going to use this one. And it is that John Legend song, All of Me. Because he's got lines like, well, it opens with, what would I do without your smart mouth? Drawing me in and you kicking me out. You're thinking, wow. He's actually saying to a woman, yeah, you're kind of speaking to me in a kind of way. But he's not actually saying it in that kind of abusive and horrible way. He's actually saying, what would I do without you? You know, pushing me and forcing me and driving me. Not just being, oh yes, whatever you say. No, you're a fiery, passionate, wonderful person and you're making my life better. And there's a great line in there where it says, all of me loves all of you, loves your curves and all your edges, all your perfect imperfections. What a lyric, what a thing to say. I love your perfect imperfectness. And again, simple line, floats by you, but wow, has he got a bit of a punch to it. And then there's this lovely line where he actually says, you're my downfall, you're my muse, my worst distraction, my rhythm and blues. So again, I'm not going to go on and on about John Legend's genius and his wonderful writing of a lyric. But then what is that? Because I give all of you, all of me loves all of you. And that's, again, what a wonderful thing to say to somebody. We'd all love somebody to say that to us, wouldn't we, at some point? And of course, people do. They just don't say it, well, they don't sing to us. They might send us the song. I've heard this across the years, again, humblingly, with my own music, where people said, I sent this song to my husband or my boyfriend or my girlfriend or my significant other because I wanted them to know how I felt, and I couldn't say it myself. And that's your job. You, as a songwriter, are going to actually say to people, I'll be your voice. I'll give you the story that I know is in you, that you want to tell, but maybe you just don't have the words, but that's cool. Have mine instead. So the last bit on kind of lyrics, I suppose, is that subject thing I said. In the Lucky 7 performances you can see on the rest of the channel, I've written kind of chapters of songs, love and loss, life and experience. So I've written like love songs, I love you, I don't love you. These are kind of classic things. I've written songs about hating your work, wanting to run away from your job, because everybody feels like that at some point. I've written songs that are kind of deep and meaningful to me, a story song. I love stories. I love a song that somehow has a movie, a little story. I can see those characters. And I wrote a song called Fire Burn Me Again. If you get a chance, check it out. I think personally, for me, it's one of the nicest lyrics I think I ever wrote and probably ever will, which sounds a grand thing to say because, I'm not dead yet, but I'm hoping to write more songs. That's my job and that's what I love to do. But that particular song, I thought, yeah, that was a good lyric. And I play it to my friends, people that I love and care about, and they go, yeah, that was a good lyric. So that's kind of my way of thinking, how good is that? Now, when we talk about, we just talk about the concept of no taboo subjects. No subjects are off limit. So I want you to believe that, but be sensitive and be kind. People being rude or nasty or horrible is actually part of life. So sometimes if you want to be that in a song, fine, because we recognise that. We recognise hatred, but do we have to sing about it? Do we have to sing songs saying, please don't hate? But sometimes you can imagine, well, what if something terrible happened to somebody and they can't find any other way to forgive or understand that person, and all they can do is hate them? Then that's a lyric for you. And it's truth and it's honesty. And that's what I keep going back to. Truthful and honesty. Yeah? If you can keep that in your songs, you're a human. You're a songwriter and you will connect. Okay? Last bit, I've said here, it's time to get creative. Okay. And what I mean by that is that a friend of mine recently wrote a song about his dog. Okay. And it was really a sweet song. And it was about how happy his dog was to see him every time he came home. He saw him in the window doing that kind of dance that dogs do. And when he got in the house, the dog was kind of jumping into his arms. And I thought, what a kind of touching thing. And if you've ever had a dog and you love your dog and you've got a dog, that song would connect with you. And there was actually a really famous song. I can't remember how it goes, but I just remember the chorus went, love me, love my dog. And it was a bit cute and a bit kind of saccharine. But actually, it was a guy saying, if you love me, you'll have to love my dog because he's really important to me. And this goes back to the art of songwriting, the narrative, you, the narrator. Well, if you're going to narrate the story of people that have a dog's life or love their dog, then that's valid. And I just want to end on that kind of little note, really. It is valid if you believe it connects with others. And if the words that you're finding, remember I said, where can we find inspiration? Poetry, movies, write stuff down, hear a conversation, write it down. A lead line, let's just go back to that. Remember we talked about top line, top line, which is kind of do, 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 do. So that's going to be the tune that we hear on the song. But if the lyric in that top line, okay, fits, remember we talked about structure, of beats per minute and stuff, verse, chorus, middle eight, and doesn't have to be that, but about how we make that strong structure. The lyric that inspires you in that do, 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 and here's a really easy one for you. I want to write this song for you. I know you won't hear it too. I can tell you what's in my heart, so I'll keep writing my song from the start. So the idea of that, and I just made that up for you, is that's someone saying you're never going to hear the song that's all about you, but the lyric is all about you, even though you're never going to hear it. So there you are, narrative, narrate the story of my life. I want to go out dancing, I want to fall in love, I miss someone, I'm worried about the planet, I love my children, I love my dog, I hate my job. So that's really it for section 4. Keep getting all the sections mixed up. So I'm going to leave you with that thought. Do some research, read, watch movies, write lines, read poetry books. So until next time, I'm going to quickly have a quick sip of tea. Sorry about this. All this talking. I will see you in section 5.